can't remember the black web or the dark web. I don't understand. What is that?
Yeah, so, well, the dark web is, I guess it refers to a lot of things, but there's a whole version of the internet out there that you can't access through like Internet Explorer or Google Chrome. You have to have a special browser. And it's a lot of just real bad stuff on there. It's mostly child pornography. There's a lot of drug. I mean, you can go on there, you can buy drugs, you can buy guns, you can hire a hitman, stuff like that.
How do you access that?
So what would you say to a teen boy who just wants to make videos of him playing video games with his friends and posting it online? And what would you say to him to say, you know, that's not a great idea?
Well, I mean, again, when I'm talking to the kids, that's the first thing I tell them too, is I'm not here to tell you what to do, because then they're not going to listen to me. I just tell them the consequences, potential consequences. I would say, you know, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Again, here's the pitfalls. If you're doing something inappropriate, playing the video games, and that's potentially going to be out there permanently, and then just be mindful, especially of the comments you get. We see that more with the girls than the guys. A lot of girls want to put like dancing videos on. Like when twerking was a thing, there's a lot of twerking videos on YouTube. But we had, again, guys were targeting girls just based on that. They go on there. Like I said, I had that one who was pretending to be Bieber's agent and getting girls to do stuff. So, again, I don't tell them what to do or not to do. I just try to encourage them to, you know, think about why are you doing it, and then what are your consequences going to be if somebody else sees that. All right, everybody, I'll be here as well, you know, tearing stuff down. So if you have, I do this with the kids as well. If you have something you don't want to bring up in front of everybody, I'll be here as well. I can stay here as long as needed. So I appreciate everybody coming out. Again, spread the word. I do try to get these presentations out to whoever will hear me ramble for almost an hour and a half. So if you're part of any civic groups, church groups, yeah, feel free to reach out. I'd love to come chat. And I can modify this as needed. I've had some places say, hey, you know, I don't want to talk about this or that. The other thing, I might argue with you a little bit, depending on what it is, because again, even with parents sometimes, it's, you know, I don't want my kid to hear this, because then they're going to get this idea in their head. Like I said, it's out there, it's happening in our schools, it's happening in our communities. So just be vigilant and keep us in mind if something is going on. So thank you.
Thank you. I do have one more question, and I'm going to ask it Ms. Jensen too, as well. What does the school do about cyberbullying? Because that's a huge concern I have. And what is the recommendation that the school do? I mean, I'm paranoid about that, suicide happening because it got cyberbullied. I know you say it doesn't happen that often, but you know, I saw a story this morning. It breaks my heart. I mean, what does the school do? I mean, when it happens, do you find out about it? And when do you find out about it, I should say?
Sometimes the kids bring it to us, sometimes the parents bring it to us. Most of the time they do have a screenshot of it, and that helps a ton because we can bring the kids together. We do restorative justice. You know, it's very clear, there's no denying it. Everybody deletes it, and they usually are okay on their own. We almost always involve Brian Lemke, the school resource officer, just to make sure that we're following the right protocol. There have been instances where we've said to the family, it's your choice if you want to go ahead and, what is the word, not prosecute it, but if you want to report it to the police and have that investigated, then that's different from what we would do here. Sometimes if it turns out that it's impacting school, there has been times where we've given suspensions. Definitely work with the parents unless it's something where the kids are working it out and it wasn't as serious. But like I've seen in our newsletters, there have been times where it's gotten bigger, where we have whole groups of kids talking about certain things, and at those times we've had the counselor talk to grade levels. I've gone and talked to groups of kids, depending on who it's impacting. Sometimes it's like this group and this group, and they constantly are doing it back and forth to one another. So that's a little bit more difficult because it's not sexting, it's not to the level of breaking the law. It is mean, but because it's tit for tat and back and forth, it just makes it a lot harder. So we keep trying talk to the kids about solutions, work with their families. Sometimes we separate kids from move to a different class, try to create a different setting for them. It's really on an individual basis.
How often does that happen? Pretty often?
It's pretty often.
100 times a year?
I would say once every couple of weeks something comes up, and then every once in a while it goes in a spurt where, wow, that's all we dealt with all week was a couple of different things. Probably not even once every couple of weeks. And in general, you'll see 90% of the kids making good choices. There are plenty of situations with bystanders where they don't say anything. They don't stop it. They don't report it. They just try to stay out of it. Like, oh, I deleted it and I stay out of it. So the delete part's good, but it's rare that it gets reported. There are also times where a kid made a bad choice. They share it, both with social media and with other kids in school, and then they just get a barrage of kids saying, everybody knows about this, you better tell, you're going to get in trouble, I'm worried about your safety, and then the kid comes and reports themselves, even sometimes with their parents. So we have had instances where they were surrounded by people saying that's the wrong thing to do. And even sometimes when like 4 people are being mean and the 5th one says, I'm your friend, I don't want you to get in trouble, but I'm worried about you, and that one person is the one that makes the difference. So you see all of it. And it is common. I mean, in the old days, they passed notes that were mean about each other. It's the same thing.
But
Is there-
again, like you
And
said,
the
it's
taking
such a bigger
pictures.
level. You know, passing a note can get thrown out, but like you said, I mean.
Yeah, the
It's-
issues we're seeing where it's
it's-
leading to the
it's just-
suicide port is, it's just in the face all day, all night, weekends. You just can't get away from it.
Right.
And definitely ours is more mild. We don't, like maybe once a year we'll hear about something where somebody sent a picture that they're worried about, and it's not, it doesn't go to the level of some of the things that we've seen. And the mean things they're saying don't necessarily go to the level of what they're saying. So I feel like most of our kids are sharing either with their friends or their parents how they're feeling, and that is the safety. It's when they close off to that and they're afraid to talk about it. But that's what I would worry about.
Is there an ability for kids to report things anonymously?
Yes. Within our school, no, but they're taught about the sites. I can't even think of what
The
one.
safety
Safety
tell.
tell.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
it,
safety
safety
tells a good
tell.
option.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about the cyberbullying and being the bystander in the cyberbullying
Right.
and not wanting, I mean, as you said, not wanting to be the one who's,
Yeah, and cyber tip
Snitching
line
or-
you could use for that. They prioritize things, and obviously our sexual exploitation is going to get prioritized higher, so
Right.
that might not be the best, but Safety Tel's a great resource.
It is.
There's been a lot of serious like school safety issues thwarted through Safety Tel. So
And so sometimes the worrying about snitching, this might be a good thing to tell your kids. A lot of times the kids they're worried about saying something, but when they say something, the person doesn't even, they accuse somebody else of being the snitch. And I'm sitting there going, I'm not going to tell you who it was, but you're accusing the wrong person. So honestly, it's pretty rare that it comes back to the student who reported it. Almost never. There's one time that it did, and that student was just like, dude, I was scared for you. I had no choice. I told my mom. And then it was over.
I'm just an ignorant question because my son's still in elementary. How often do your middle schoolers have access to their phone? Is it all day?
That was what our letter was about. They shouldn't be on their phone at all throughout the day, but they are allowed to have it like on their person as long as it's not out in use. So we do find kids that, they're taking it to the bathroom. They're definitely, I know it's happening more because I hear from parents about, oh, my kid this and this. I'm like, so you're talking to them all day long when they're not supposed to be on their phone. So I know it's happening more than we see, but if a phone is seen out, then the teacher says, I'm sorry, you know what the rule is, takes it to the office. First day the kid can pick it up after school. If it happens again, ooh, bummer, you've already had your phone taken away, it's going to be in the office, your parent has to come pick it up. And then if it happens again after that, the parent has to meet stuff. So we have had some kids where they have to turn in the phone to the office in the morning and pick it up at the end of the day. And then there are plenty of parents who just say, you don't need this phone for a while.
We've also had,
I didn't know
Yeah.
what it was.
we've also had kids try and turn in a different phone than the one that you know, go bring us to the front office, and then they try and turn in a different phone. So,
The one
I
they're
mean,
using and the one that they turn in and they get caught.
Are you kidding?
But, and that's the hard part about this, I'm sure you could talk about that, is that you can try to figure out every way around it to keep your control tight, but they'll just find another way around it. So the conversation and the
Just
relationship.
keeping it open.
And I loved what you said about the consequences. It's not like, don't do this, it's, you know, why
Yeah,
are you doing it?
when I first came in, it was all like, here's all the bad stuff that's gonna happen, don't do any of this, and the kids, they really did just tone me out. So I've just changed, and I think I can get, for the most part, better feedback. I just tell them right at the beginning, I have a longer list of disclosures with the kids, and it's one of the first things, is like, I care what you guys do online, but ultimately I don't care. Like, if you wanna go do this stuff, go do it. You're gonna come see me, either on one end of the side as a victim or as a suspect, and I'm just trying to prevent that. And then we just stress the consequences, and then stress the communication on their level as well. I just really try to get down to, if it's not parents, then teachers, if it's not teachers and coaches, you know, talk to somebody other than just some other 13-year-old about what's going on, so.
And did you talk to the whole middle school or just only 7th and 8th graders?
8th grade here,
Only
yeah,
eighth
just
grade.
8.
We do have some curriculum in our crew, and hearing what you have offering for 6th grade, we might want to put that in there too. But the whole online internet safety and social media choices is threaded throughout our crew curriculum.
Yeah, the schools all through our valley are doing a good job of addressing this. I just try to come in to add a little bit of realism to it, because again, it's coming from, you know, adults and teachers and yada, yada, yada. When I come in and I use the same examples, the same case examples I talked about here, sometimes I mix it up depending on if I'm in a school where my victim is, but I just say, like, look, this happened right here. And again, they're kids, it's not going to happen to me mentality, but I try to get it across that, you know, this isn't just something we hear about, this is something that's happening to your peers. And so yeah, the schools are doing a great job, even if I'm not getting it, because there's no way I can talk to every kid. Our judicial district goes from, you know, Utah to Aspen, so. But we do try to come in and just reinforce what's already being taught, so.
Were you aware of that thing that happened a few weeks ago where there was, I think, a lockdown based on an IP address in Carbondale or something? Or-
Yeah, it's an active investigation, so I can't talk too much about it, but yeah, that was something we were involved with fairly early on, just due to the online nature of it. But again, it's another example I use with the kids. I mean, we can't say for sure if that was a legitimate threat or not. Fortunately, we didn't have to find out. But even if that kid had just been joking about some of that stuff that was posted online, I didn't even know this. You know, there's people at the national level who just troll all these sites, 4chan, some of these kind of underweb, not dark web, but just stuff that most people don't know about. And they have computers that just search for keywords, school and gun, or all those different combinations and different algorithms. So there's people out there looking for that. So even if it had just been a joke, it still would have been charged. I mean, you shut down a whole school district. A lot of law enforcement time that day was spent on that. We had another, what we thought was a threat in Glenwood that we were kind of hypersensitized to, so we hit that a lot harder than we probably should have. I mean, a lot of stuff was going on because of that. So I do talk about that with the kids, because even if it had been a joke, that stuff we're going to charge on that. I mean, it's nothing you can joke about anymore.
As a parent, I found that, because my kids are getting older now, almost 16 and 18, if it was just like, what are you doing, let me see, you know, your phone, we look at your friends list, that it closes them down more. But I started just going over the newspaper every once in a while with them, or hanging out and they're watching something on Netflix. I'm like, oh wow, and so I read that article out loud to them. They knew about that site. It's like, how do you know about that site? That site that this kid's on has all negative stuff and pictures of memes with like guns and pretending about school shooting. And they knew about that site, and it was because things are reposted from that site onto iFunny, which is a fairly inappropriate site as well. And that's where they were seeing. So just being able to talk about, iFunny's an app, and it's pretty, it's really
It's based out of
inappropriate.
Ukraine, where we have no legal authority, and that's 4chan too. I should probably add that to my list of apps, given what happened up there. 4chan it's just a chat board site. Nothing good on there. A lot of child pornography, a lot of violence, ISIS videos, through all that crap. So,
So I was
if you're
thinking-
seeing 4chan and you're browsing history,
Four,
that's
with
where
it,
the
F-O,
conversation
with
is.
a 4, or how do you spell it?
The number 4, that's CHAN.com.
Yes.
And then there's a whole bunch of subversions and triple subversions and secret versions. There's a whole underworld.
No Common Sense Media has sites too.
It just shows you what the different sites are in the ratings.
And how often they're getting these by kids, or how popular they are?
Just how appropriate they are. It's hard for us to track anything like that. And this stuff changes so often. I mean, I have to update these slides like every 6 months because it's just so cyclic. So everything I'm telling you now, in fact, a lot of what I'm telling you now is probably not up to date. I haven't talked to as many students. I like talking to the younger kids, especially 6th grade is perfect because they're not so callous yet, and they'll just spill their guts on everything they're doing. They're like, oh, I have social media. Like, you have to be 13. Oh.
Right.
I had something else I forgot to bring up. So you have to be 13 to use pretty much any social media. A lot of kids have it anyway. A lot of parents set it up for their kids, and they lie about their age. Nothing illegal, but it is against the terms of service. So if you're having problems, take the account down and just say you can't have this in the first place if they're under 13.
And my question is, I guess, how often do you say, like, I'm going to look at what you're doing, or, I mean, I understand, like, our conversations with the kids at home about, trust and not inviting people that you don't know, but when do you really intercept and start really looking into what is, like, do you think that's a good idea to be that involved, or only?
See, that's where I think you kind of have to play it by ear, and it's going to be just dependent on the level of trust you already have, whatever, what you believe is open communication lines. And that's why I don't like to come in and start making recommendations because I don't know. My kids are 5 and almost 2, so I'm not dealing with a lot of this yet. I would encourage, like you were saying, being secretive and going through the phones, if that hasn't been the norm, if you start trying to do that, you could just push them even further away, so you kind of have to balance that out with what's going on. I think ideally, especially being at the middle school age going forward, if they're not super active on a lot of this stuff, I really liked what my buddy did, where he just told his daughter up front, I'm going to see everything you're doing. Like he didn't hide that from her. So he didn't lose that trust. He just said, like, if you show me that you're responsible, then yes, you'll get to use it. So then every now and again, he'll still get in and spot check it. And he told her as well, going forward, okay, I'm not going to be seeing everything now, but from time to time, I'm going to get your device. Like, you don't get your own password. I need to know how to get to your phone. I need to be able to get your accounts. And so they just know. They may not like it, but that's the norm. And I think, I don't know what her point of view is on it, but I think it's less confrontational than just the, I don't trust you, I need to see your phone. And a lot of this stuff, you could just, especially with the 8th grade, if they've had my program, I tell them that I talk to parents, and I tell them when I tell the parents, like I said, I'm not here to hide anything from either group. You can just go home from this and be like, hey, look, we went to a presentation tonight with some guy who just scared the crap out of us, and let's go through your friends list. Like, let's just see who's on there, and not make it a like, I don't think you're doing anything wrong, but there's really creepy people out there, and so let's just make sure they're not on your friends list, and maybe start there and see where it goes.
And he showed some of those warning signs. I like that rubric that you had up there. So we'll post some of the things because I think you can tell with your child when they're going to need a little more based on what you're seeing from them. You can tell.
Yeah, and obviously, if it is an issue, if they get caught up in one of these sexting issues or they've been cyberbullying, then I think, obviously whatever punishment you think is appropriate, and then maybe use some of those things to phase it back in. If the device gets taken away, and say, you'll get it back eventually, but with monitoring until you show that you're responsible to use it. So.
Can we assume the Chromebooks are locked down in some way?
Yeah, they're under security. We just found out 3 today that hadn't been because of the way they had to log in for the TARC testing. But they have security restrictions. They can't get onto WhatsApp. I've had some kids begging to get that one, and I keep showing the data about why we're saying no. They still can't, and even YouTube, that one's been kind of like, because we do a lot of educational stuff through YouTube, but the teacher has control of that. And Facebook was available at the beginning, and that one we shut down And they're not, at this age, they're not allowed to take them home. So if they bring home their Chromebooks, you can say, uh-oh, you were supposed to plug that into your Core 7 class cart. When you get to high school, they can bring them home. But they still have the security settings on them at home in the high school.
All right, yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.